Hey guys, it's Matt. Zara, are you looking for the trash truck that's not coming 3 weeks in a row? Yeah, guys, I want to talk about this strange conversation or this brutal honesty that I just got from the customer service person at my trash company, which was shockingly odd how upfront she was. But there's a lot of things I wanted to talk about regarding the economy, things that just don't make any sense. Um, am I going to start screaming reality breakdown again? Well, probably before the video's over. Czar, where's our trash truck? Let me just tell you what happened with the trash, then we'll go from there. The entire economy is so figged, rigged. That didn't come out right, so just re-recording this segment. I've had the same trash. I'll move off the trash story, guys, to the general economy, the shrinkflation, a whole economy managed on a supercomputer. I'll get to that in a minute, but just a minute or a few minutes on this trash situation because it's indicative of what is going on everywhere, and it's totally bizarre. Um, 20 years, this trash company, now it's called Republic Services, over $10 billion a year in revenue. I think the only larger one in the United States is Waste Management, and they sponsor golf tournaments, and I don't know how many countries they're in. So this is a monster company that should have at 10 to 11 billion dollars a year in annual revenue. They should have a decent amount of resources, you would think. Or if things in the economy are changing over here, they should be able to react to them using their Westworld supercomputers. Anyway, they've been pretty good for 20 years. And I've had a few misses here and there. I mean, no big deal. But I've had some misses in the last, I guess, 4 or 5 months. Some strange things have happened. Okay, fine. And they're not real good. See, when they miss, they should just come the next day and get it. Where they'll call you back. They'll say they're going to come the next day. They'll call you back and say, "Oh, we'll be there next week." Okay, well, you're just going to completely ignore me for the week. Well, that's fine. But now it's 3 weeks in a row being missed. 3 weeks in a row. So today's the recycle was missed. You get this garbled phone call. This is Republic Services. We'll pick you up tomorrow. They'll say they'll come tomorrow. I'll tell you what happened with my call to customer service as well. This might take 3 or 4 minutes, but I'll move off it as soon as I can. They say they'll come tomorrow, then they don't. They call you back and just say, "Oh, we'll see you next week." It's like the game they play. Last week they missed my trash. The week before that they missed my recycle. 3 misses in a row. So I call customer service. Who knows where they are? They're not in the Philippines. You can tell they're somewhere in the United States, which is a nice change of pace. And I said, what is going on? And it was actually the billing person. I wanted to see if they had just billed me because there's a local provider here called AJ Blazinski or something that's much more local and I think much more reliable, especially in the snow, according to my neighbors. If it snows a half inch, this Republic Services, they don't come out this far. Like, it's flurrying? Fuck them. We're not going out that far. So anyway, um, what was I going to say about? Oh, so I call up the billing person, and of course they had just billed me, so I'm not going to switch for a little while. If they don't come next week, I'm going to switch. But Czar, do people want to see Czar? Um, I said, what's going on? What you guys are a $10 billion plus company, and she says we can't find drivers to do the job. Or how did she put it? A little bit more palatable than that, or a little bit more diplomatic than that. She said, "Oh, in your area, yeah, the Pennsylvania area there, we have a shortage." What? We can't find enough drivers. And then she says, "We've done job fairs where nobody's shown up." What? Okay, wait a second. To drive, maybe that's what I'll be doing soon. To drive a trash truck for it's CSL license or whatever. It's got to be 20 some dollars an hour plus full benefits. Um, it's air conditioned and I mean, they just push the little. They don't get out and do the trash anymore, right? The damn thing just lifts it up, and they can't find people to work. So y'all, this is not a new story to you guys. Okay, this is not a new story. It's just bizarre. Guys, what's slightly disturbing and a little concerning is this job is actually coveted to a degree, not as much as the old Pennsylvania Turnpike ticket taker, the highway that goes across the state of Pennsylvania. You almost had to know somebody. You had to know somebody to get a ticket. I know they use Easy Pass now, but in the old days, to get a job where you'd take somebody's ticket and give them change, you had to know somebody. Oh yeah, you had full state benefits, great hours, great hourly pay. Now the trash truck driver's not that, but I assure you it's a lot more coveted than what you would think. Again, good hourly rate, full benefits. If you have a family of 5 or 6 people with kids, I mean, a full benefit package, it's like an additional $30,000 to $40,000 a year. Um, so around here? I don't know. How does a Wawa stay staffed, or a 7-Eleven, or down the way here, Rocco's Pizza, where I go for a chicken cheesesteak or whatever. They have the same guys there of Mexican heritage, and and I've known for years. They've been down there. Some don't speak English, but they've been down there a long time. How do they stay staffed? And I know the staffing is an issue everywhere, but you'd think, I guess what I'm saying is the trash truck driver, some of you are going, who would want that job? Trust me. No, 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 no. It's not the most coveted job in the world, but much more sought after than you would think. And if they're having issues, um, how at some point how is the economy going to, as fake as it may be, how is it going to maintain itself? So, getting off the trash story, guys, every time there's a shortage, or every time something doesn't get delivered, or is postponed, or you go to the cat food aisle in Target is still half full. You can get whatever you need, but a lot of the brands or items, I went to Chewy to order the other day, and they only sent me one box. They said, "What you ordered, we're stocked out of this." So you all understand what I'm talking about, and you've all experienced similar things. If you go anywhere, go into Joann Fabrics, the fabric store around here. It's a chain. I don't know if they're all over the country or not. Like, I want to get this I saw last year. Oh, we don't have that in stock. See, this is all cumulative, and the effect of not having product when needed, even though you eventually use a substitute product, it would be billions and billions of dollars a day. This would be affecting the stock market. There would be an effect. You look at the stock market, and I think it's still above. I don't look at it. It's like 30,000 or above 30,000. If anything were real, again, the cumulative effect of not as many people traveling, and they're going to do this real ID, real girl ID soon. So you'll need that, or you'll need a passport and a license. They're making it harder to travel. And for a year and a half, nobody vacationed much around the world for a year and a half. Just the tourism loss alone and the money multiplier of that should have completely destroyed the entire world economy if it wasn't completely fake, run on the Westworld Yaldabaoth system. I keep calling. I don't know if I've done that in the past, but they call it something. There's a name of the Westworld supercomputer. At least for season 3, I just got into season 4 because people are telling me to watch it. So I guess I'm not going to guess. I'm not going to mention anything about season 4. It's only one episode. From what I've seen in the first episode, I'm not impressed. The first few episodes of season 3 were very impressive, but they call it a weird name that, to me, I keep hearing like the name of the demiurge, like it's like Yaldabaoth or whatever. So I'm just going to call that. I guess I'll name the sentient world simulation, and I'll also, in addition, call it the Whopper computer. I'll call it the Westworld supercomputer, Yaldabaoth, whatever. So, um, guys, it's all managed, of course, and rigged. The stock market, everything is managed on that Sims game supercomputer. But I mean, you would eventually, the effects of the shortages, the part shortages, autos. My neighbor has an old Saturn that's 18 years old, Saturn, little Saturn sedan. That was a GM brand before they got rid of that line. And I'm like, don't you have your old Saturn? He's like, oh, yeah, it's sitting somewhere. It's 2 months to get the parts. This would be cumulative. And the tourism loss alone, um, so in other words, there's nothing real about it. It's so obvious to see at this point. They just inject money artificially on their simulation wherever they need it. And it's almost like a rotating, they rotate where they want to inflict the pain. And no group of men and women waiting for their Subway sandwiches to show up in back rooms and cherry wood tables with ashtrays could coordinate all of this. It's inhuman or slash reality breakdown. That just means I don't understand what's going on, but how the coordination is taking place is not within any kind of known reality. It's not inside of reality bookends. There's something going on we don't understand and potentially never will understand. But it's almost like they circulate the pain around from this narrative, this shortage narrative that they have attached in some way to CV, to see the V. So, it'll happen. Like my trash will be a pain in the neck if I don't switch for the next few months. This will go on and on, but then they'll rotate the pain into another aspect of society. It won't, this is a $10 billion, $11 billion company. Um, they're serving right now, they're serving the not milk's wishes without anybody at the company being in on it, without anybody waiting at the Illuminati window for their instructions to, I mean, it just doesn't work that way. Nobody's in on it, but everybody's in on it. Every 90, I would say 99% of the population serves what the screened, not milk, dark reality wants. Going along with it on the download, on the frequency, without, of course, without any understanding of what they're doing. So the pain in buying a new car, the part shortage, it's masterful. It's evil genius to the nth degree. They'll rotate, then it'll get better, but then they'll rotate the pain over here. It'll slide over here somehow. And now it's sliding into Matt's trash pickup. And is it the end of the world? No, I don't, it's just me and the cats here. I don't produce that much trash, but you make the call to customer service, so that adds to your busyness and all that. What did Bill the poster and all that jazz and all that distracts. It's just another distraction to add to the list. And I guess Zara's kind of she's distracted me a little bit from where I was going with this, so I guess I'll pause it and come back and talk about some other things. Well, I guess I was going to talk about shrink. I've talked about shrinkflation in the past, but this morning I was at Target and I've never had a inflation hit, or maybe there's a shortage here. Maybe that's what causes it. I don't pay attention to much news, but it was with nuts, mixed what? Mixed nuts. Um, Guys, if I need something, I know Target might be a little bit more expensive than Walmart. They're generally going to be within 5% of each other. So I'm not looking at every little price. I don't buy anything I don't need. Eggs, milk, nuts, because I use it somehow sometimes I'll skip lunch. I'll just go a whole handful. And I don't eat well at all, so I don't eat any vegetables for the most part. It's awful the way I eat. So peanuts, cashews, and almonds. This is how I get a big source of nutrition. So I grab this. It's just a little. It's not a box. It's a plastic tin, but it's not that big. It's not that big. I'm gonna look at the price, threw it in, whatever. Had to get. I was at Target recently, but I'm out of the certain cat litter that Fifi Addy likes, and I'm not gonna take it with all the litter issues and pee around the house issues I've had here. I'm not taking a chance on trying something new. I don't need another cat peeing around the house. Put it that way. So you have to. They don't have anybody working in the morning. It's all scan yourself. Maybe they never do anymore. I don't know. I'm usually there in the morning. And these nuts, it was 14.99, $15 for the. It was reduced $2. It was supposed to be 16.99. I went, what? 17 guys. This was Matt. You must have got yourself macadamias or not cashews. What are they called? Pistachios. No, these were ghetto nuts, dude. These were there were some cashews in there. I'm like, you you ghetto nuts. 14 $15 reduced. It should have been almost $17 for ghetto nuts. What what is a I mean, I've never okay, and I went, wait a second, inflation is it? This has got to be another shortage, right? It's got to be. There's no way nuts are going to be pushing $20. Now, I know with when you go to buy paper towels with the shrinkflation, the paper towel, they'll always keep. There's no shortage there. That's just the inflation that will never go back, in my opinion. The paper towels will always be under $30 for the gigantic, the Walmart or Target size. I don't know how many are in there, 15 to 20. That's what I buy because I need to clean pee up all over the house. Um, that will always they know they're smart. That will always be under $20 unless something just completely happens with the economy and the Weimar finally comes to your local hometown. Mr. Burton, China is here. Mr. Burton, China is here. Weimar is here. Unless the paper towels go to $100, the inflation just goes crazy. They'll keep it under $30, but they'll shrinkflation it. You'll go and you'll go start one day you'll start pulling paper towels off and you'll find there'll be 10 to 12 towels on each. We've talked about this in the past. That how crazy will the shrinkflation get? How much will people, as I put up with, but what choice do they have? The last thing that will break the economy, at some point they will have no control over it, is the inflation. That is something that their Westworld Yaldabaoth can't put back into the toothpaste back into the tube when it happens. But they have another, again, it's nothing to panic over. They'll create a false panic, but they have another system ready to go right now, of course. And they've played games, they've run their simulations, what they did with India, with getting rid of the paper currency and all the games they've played around the world. The system they have it now because they probably think they can't. The Yaldabaoth Westworld computer, the Whopper, says whatever it's telling them that this system will somehow hold up for 5 or 7 more years or whatever it may be. It's gone this long. It'll probably go longer than we think. But they're thinking, hey, if this, when again, the working with the big companies like Procter and Gamble's, when the shrinkflation hits and you're paying $30 for the paper towels and 90% of it is just a cardboard core. It's like a giant thick cardboard core, and there's just maybe 4 or 5 towels around the outside. At some point, people will either panic or they'll start to be very concerned, or the inflation will break free from all their simulations and whatever they're running on this Sims game, and they won't be able to put it back in the toothpaste tube. So they'll create a panic, they'll create chaos. I mean, instead of coming right out and saying, we knew this would happen, everybody relax. They will do that if it gets too out of control. They want the chaos managed within a certain. They want to scare the crap out of people whenever it happens. But instead of coming out in terms of a leader that you could trust, if you could imagine that, like if it was real leadership, just not some retarded drooling puppets that just serve other masters, somebody would come out and say, listen, what's the inflation is finally here, but relax, people. We knew this was coming. We have a whole new system, and we've been planning it for 10 years. Relax. Don't run on the cheesesteak joints. Don't run on the banks. But no, they won't. They'll cause a little bit of a panic. That's the type of creeps we're dealing with here. Come here, Czar. That's the type of creeps we're dealing with. The panic, they want it within a certain range. They don't want the last few episodes of Westworld 3 or the end of Fight Club. They don't want that. They could have caused that a long time ago. So, um, but they'll have it when it gets out of control, and you do have humongous groups. I haven't done it for a while, so I'm going to do it. The humongous groups or gangs from Mad Max: The Road Warrior on the streets, and that's like organizing outside your window, like just walk away. There's been too much death in the wasteland. Just walk away and I'll spare your lives. When that happens, they'll say, wait, don't panic. We have a whole new digital system. Right now on your phone, you're getting 40,000 Illuminati, Dan Brown, Da Vinci Code credits. and you'll be able to spend them. See, all the big corporations will all have already, incredibly, they'll all have implemented the systems. It'll all be done. Oh, Kohl's will take it, and Walmart will take it, and Target will take it. Well, they must have known something was coming to have this to be ready to take the Illuminati Dan Brown Da Vinci Code credits. It'll all be ready to go, and but they'll scare the shit out of people for 2 months. And people that held these assets but not these assets might take a haircut at 50 cents on the dollar. If you held a bunch of cash, you turn in your cash, bring it to the bank, and we're going to give you one Dan Brown credit for each dollar, and it'll turn out that that credit only buys 15 to 20 cents the purchasing power of the dollar. Some people will take a huge haircut, but the new system will go on. It'll be a system they can control at 99.99999%. This is a system they can only control, in my opinion, at about 92 to 95%. And when you're talking about something as massive as the whole world, that 3 to 5% can cause a big butterfly effect if they screw it up. So everything is managed. Guys, I don't know how long I'm going here, but the other story I wanted to tell about the economy, which made no sense, and how, call it what you want, reality breakdown, artificial, not human. When I was looking for a job and submitting resumes and doing all of that, which was probably 4 years ago to about 3 years ago, about 2.5 years ago, somebody suggested, because there was so much the demonetization, if you talk about truth, you couldn't make any money through YouTube. I never took a penny from YouTube in 12 years. Never took a penny. It was always dirty money to me. Never ran an ad. Any ad that ever ran was because they said I used copyrighted material. They ran the ad without my permission and took all of it. It was always dirty money to me. People estimated in how many millions and millions of views over 12 years. People think easily I gave up $50,000 or more. Fine. But now forget, so someone said, post a PayPal link. I didn't even know, I didn't know that would be able to pay my bills, but people, stepped up $3, $5 a month. And for 2 years or so, I don't make that much, but all my bills are paid. I live meagerly here with cats. I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. But the point is, when the insurance company stuff was winding down, and that went pretty bad in that started to really slide off at 2014, 2015, and I'm starting to use them then. Then I was using my 401k from Cigna, the insurance company, when I was out in California to pay my bills. Was tapping into my 401k with 10% penalty and all of that. So the point is, sorry to be long-winded, for at least a year and a half, I submitted hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of resumes. And I've talked about this before. I'll be brief. And you know what happened? They must have looked at my social credit score or my Westworld Yaldabaoth computer score and just, oh my, this this guy he looks good here, but summa cum laude, Penn State, and all this, but he has a social credit score the same as these felons over here from Graterford Prison that are applying. We have a prison here called Graterford in Pennsylvania. It's very similar to Shawshank. It's the same, yeah. So that's what happened to me. But the point is, it was very, after doing this, say 8 months, 12 months, 14 months, and at that point, of course, I'm fully engaged in truth. I've been fully engaged in truth in this YouTube stuff since, I don't know, roughly 2009. It didn't make sense to me how many companies in this area were, it was like was all biotech, pharma, or drugs in stage 2 trial or three, hundreds and hundreds of these companies, or they were computer related in some way. And it seems like it almost seems like it was 70% of the companies. And at this point, guys, I'm using my 401k to live. Any sort of a job in a corporation. This is before CV and the renting of the Action Jackson Nation and any issues like that. I just wanted to go back into a cube anywhere to be able to get benefits and to get a paycheck to keep my house. I mean, I didn't think I had any choice. I didn't think if I put a PayPal link up that I would be able to pay my bills. I even worked at the Pennsylvania liquor store for a little while. That was so horrible. I couldn't take it. I had to quit. just hourly. I wasn't on benefits or anything at that point. But so I guess what was so unnatural to me is after doing this months and months and months, I thought, how many biotech pharma companies can there be in this area? It's not even known for pharma biotech. And who's taking all these drugs? In other words, it's all artificial, guys. It's literally artificial. I don't, now that doesn't mean the company, if I put in a resume, Zara, come here, people want to see you. If I put in a resume over here, sure, if you go there, it wasn't just cardboard cutouts sitting at cubes. They really had a drug in testing but there's just no way. Just in locally, I didn't go or submit to a company that was more than a 30-minute drive. And I'm sure it wasn't as high as I thought. I'm sure there were other companies I'm forgetting about. But it seemed like the entire thing was either computer or pharma. And again, although it seemed like every single submission was either computer or pharma, I'm sure it seemed like 80%, but it's still even me accounting for, like for now when we look at the magenta, we have to account for the fact that we're kind of looking for it now and how much has always been there versus what we think is new. So even accounting for it, I think it was around 60% of what I was submitting for was either some sort of pharma, biotech, or in some way computer related. Systems, processing systems, inventory systems. And I just started to think this is completely impossible and unnatural. I mean, this is not Silicon Valley here. It's just the Philadelphia suburbs. What are all these computer companies doing? Now, I know there's things about the computer industry I don't understand. My friends have been involved in this, so I understand this. They do computer systems for hospitals and hospital billing. Okay, I understand hospital networks and systems, hospital networks for billing, and with that sort of money coming and going, need certain computer systems, and I understand all that. Or SMS HR systems, I understand that. But once you get through the top 15, how is there like 100 companies around this area that I submitted a job to that in some way had to do with broadband networks, computer systems? I mean, how many? So if I just in Wilmington, Delaware, there's another 100 companies doing computer systems. Every major city around the world, are they all these computer systems processing? Where are all the? What are they doing? I don't like for. I'm not. I know this isn't coming out, guys. Right. I don't know what this. I don't really even know how to talk about it. It's just like a reality breakdown to me. Like IBM, you look at I guess this is the best way to say it. I'm not completely naive when it comes to the ways of the world. I mean, I was in corporate America. I've been around a bit. I know I don't, Matt, you don't even leave the house. I know, but that's like the last 5 years or so. Overall, I have been out and done a lot of things and visited a lot of places. I know not recently, but look at IBM, for example. They'll talk about, you go look at the numbers. I don't know how many billions upon billions, and Carl Sagan billions and billions, whatever the revenues and profits, but it's like, does anybody know what the product is? It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't add up. When they used to make a laptop, I could point at the laptop and say they make that and they make money from that. But is it all the consulting for systems and computers? They can make that many hundreds of billions? How? I mean, look at McKinsey, these gigantic tens of thousands of employees, McKinsey consultants. What are they consulting on to produce that much billions and billions of dollars of revenue? The law firms, there was one in Los Angeles I remember that I called on. I don't know if it's still there when I worked for the insurance company in Los Angeles called Latham and Watkins. These law firms in Los Angeles, like if you saw Billy Bob Thornton in what is he's the lawyer in what's that TV show called? Um, oh heck, it's called Goliath. Okay, Goliath. It's like that. They're all Marble. I can understand that. There's so much litigation. Every celebrity and athlete has all these legal representation. Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, bull. That's what our whole society is based on, litigation and that BS. I understand that. I understand IBM making a little laptop or a box I can point to. But in terms of all this consulting revenue, like Where, what are they consulting on that produces these hundreds of billions of dollars? And it's, if not just IBM, cumulatively. So is that sort of thing with all these resumes I'm putting in at these, what are they doing that's any different than this company? And how can they all exist together? I'm not getting it outright, but you guys know what I mean. It's not, it is like a reality breakdown. It is, there's no way that there's a real economy buying. In other words, there seem to be enough computer um, reserve infrastructure, or let's just say pitchers in the bullpen, in just this area, this little podunk suburbs of Philadelphia, to serve the whole world. So then one would think this and all these computer jobs are replicated in every city, major city in the United States. I'm sorry, I guess it didn't come out right. But then you get into maybe the biotech will go easier. Um, Submit resume, biotech, pharma. This company is does not have a drug, but they have two drugs in stage two trials. Like, where where's all these drug? Who's forming all these companies? And well, Matt, Pfizer has nowhere to put its money. They just spin these companies off. I hear you, but in other words, to me, they're almost like placeholder companies, like just to keep a not nilk system that is so evil genius, so Westworld supercomputer, that it almost knows how to create companies that just kind of work in a triangle. That don't, these three companies, for example, don't need to exist. This is the way I think the not nilk supercomputer does, the out of both does business. Matt, you better stop calling it that. You know, that your demiurge will start paying attention. Oh, okay, now let's call it something else. Let's call it the D wave or whatever. But these three companies in this economy say don't need to exist. But somehow the not nilk, with nobody being in on it, they get set up. The founders themselves think they have a great idea, or they started it using whatever payout they got from working at this big pharma. It all doesn't make sense where all the money comes from. This company supplies this one. I'm doing a triangle here. This one, I'm not dropping no triangle or symbolism. Come on, I don't want to put up with that bullshit anymore. I'm not going to apologize for it anymore. If anybody makes a comment, I'm just going to remove them from the channel. I cannot deal with that anymore. This company gives whatever to this consulting to this company. This company provides computer systems to this company. But none of them need to be in the economy. So they all serve each other in a three-way circle jerk without the need for them to really exist. Does that make any sense? In some way, this economy is structured like that, where if you dig into it, um, could 50% of it go away? No, but a huge chunk of it could go away. It's almost like it exists to serve itself. It's hard to talk about these issues, guys, but it is not the amount of computer companies in just in this area, biotech, stage one trials, pharma, it's just not possible. There couldn't be that many drugs. At the end of the day, what is it about? About putting a pill into somebody's mouth, or putting something in a vial, or a syringe, or putting making a patch, some sort of pharma. There couldn't be that many products. There couldn't be the demand to satisfy the number of products. Even with everybody's ailments and everybody complaining about every little thing, the demand couldn't exist. I don't know how it exists, but it's unnatural. And I guess, Matt, you're starting to go round and round at this point. I guess I am. But the economy, if we think, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, we thought it, in terms of being how fake it was, we thought it was a 4 or 5 fake out of 10. And then 3 to 4 years ago, when I guess I don't think I was the first one to come up with this, me and it, but very few of us started talking about that the stock market and every world market and exchange is basically a Sims game run on a computer somehow, where the real supply and demand forces just don't exist. Then we said the economy itself, or the way business works, is 8 out of 10 fake. Now, especially what we've seen from C, the V, and the shortages, all unnatural, all could have been headed off by the companies with a few exceptions. It's 9.5 out of 10 fake. Matt, you might as well go the whole way. Eventually, we never go far enough. Eventually, you'll go 10 out of 10. I'll never go. Yeah, I should basically, but I'll never go 10 out of 10 because, there's a farm stand down by Pam's house, and it's not really, it's a farm stand, but it's just somebody's house, and they put out what they grow in the back, or they've got a good property in the back of tomatoes and zucchini. And every year at some point I get close and I'll drive and the products will be out there and you just stuff a $5 bill in the little slot and this is a dollar and you just take produce. That's real. So it'll never be 10 out of 10. That's real. So if you maybe it's more than 9.5, but um, I guess in the end of the day, when Walmart sells you its shit that comes in from China, and you buy your bug zapper, you buy your bug zapper, get free booster with bug zapper. That's real. You hang it up and it'll zap the shit out of bugs, and you can have that little mini Auschwitz playing out in your backyard. I don't zap bugs. I put even mosquitoes. I've put out before. A couple times I'm just tired or it's going to get out and I'm going to have to worry about this thing landing on me in the middle of the night. I'm like, if this thing, I can't put this thing. I will kill things that attack me. I'll kill ticks and I'll kill mosquitoes. Like this is an aggressive bloodsucker that is just waiting to attack me in the middle of the night. Now, I have empathy for the natural world, but I still will I'm not quite there with ticks and mosquitoes. See that's an initiator, an aggressor. So it's still okay. He wants anything that wants to suck my blood. I think it's okay to kill it. If it was just some kindly bug that just wants to be left alone, oh, I'll go out of my go out of my way to save those damn things. So the last segment here, which is no less of a reality bizarro anomaly breakdown that nobody can understand, is where's the money coming from? Where's all the money coming from? And is it just as simple as they're injecting so many trillions and that funnels or just trickles down? I guess, but it's still I just shake my head in terms of these day-to-day or everyday examples that we see. So Rob that put together Free Voice is a good example. I'll drive around here, the suburbs of Philadelphia, and again, that they're down Route 30, which they call the main line, which was the train line that came out in this direction. I'm in Exton, but the real main line is Bryn Mawr, Ardmore, Haverford, Gladwin. Okay, I've mentioned those towns a lot recently. You go down there, there's some really expensive homes, and I guess the point is the U.S. We don't make anything anymore. I understand that the money printing and how fake that is, and what they called quantitative easing and the stimulus through the Fed and the central banks. I understand that, and that's driving 95% of it. But it still just doesn't make sense. Like all those $1 million homes. I mean, the taxes alone on those homes have to be $25,000 a year. Where's all the money coming from? Why haven't the part shortages affected them? When there's a shortage, that means somebody's not selling the product that they would normally sell. Or if even the trash not being picked up is cumulative, because if they don't have a driver to drive the trash truck, then the trash truck doesn't need to get its oil changed as quickly, doesn't need to fill up its gasoline. It's cumulative, and it becomes like a money multiplier exponential. How are all these homes still down there, Rob? And I go, where's the money coming from? So Rob, of who put together Free Voice, has a big background in computers and internet, but he has like an old-fashioned job right now, or he's at least trying to develop it with his son or for his son, where they'll lay like concrete patios or maybe E.P. Henry type pavers. Maybe I should know more about it. But he's up in this Connecticut area, which, Connecticut up through Boston, and that's even more of an anomaly where you say, where's all the money coming from? Where this little ranch house 15 years ago was 310 or 320,000. You're like, well, that's even, back in the 70s it was $20,000. That's a lot. But then now it's 600, 700,000. And the McMansions around here are 800,000. This is the Toll Brothers cookie cutter crap. And Rob will say, up there, these same types of homes are 950, 1.1 million. Where's all the money coming from? It just, Rob will say in terms of this patio business, he's not trying to screw anybody, but his costs are high, and he knows there's just so much money floating around that he's not going to low bid. He's probably low bidding by $1,000 or $2,000 the other providers anyway that have to pay people benefits, employee benefits, and salaries that include medical benefits, for example. Just right now, some 1099 contractors he has that aren't quote his employees and he and his son. But he knows that there's just so much money. It's like, okay, for that patio, $10,000. And people are like, oh yeah, sure. When can you start? Like, and Rob's like, well, what did you say you do again? Like, all these people can just drop $10,000 like that. Where's all the money coming from? It's a reality breakdown to me. It doesn't make any sense. And this just happens over and over and over and over again. I mean, our corporate, Matt, you've been out of touch. I mean, corporate, if Zara's going to tangle me up again, if you work corporate life, you think people in corporations are making 75, 85,000 a year. They're all making 250. Maybe. Is that what it is? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But Rob's like, you can go quote somebody $15,000 patio. They're like, yeah, when can you? They don't try to take it down thousands of dollars. They're like, yeah, when can you start? This house was down this way. It was the real stinker of the neighborhood for a long time, but it was about a quarter mile down the road. It was a ranch house. Mine's a ranch house, but a tree went through the damn house about 6 or 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, and they had the tree cut off of it, but they left the hole in the house for 3 years, maybe 2.5 years. So it was just tarped over, just tarped over, the huge blue and brown tarps. So somebody decides to buy it about 4 years ago, before this ridiculous boom. And okay, they're finally going to fix that house with the hole up, that eyesore. And somebody comes in and they fix the roof and they put new shingles and siding on, put some bushes in. It looks nice, very nice. So where was I? They decide to sell, and somebody, I don't know, was it like a year and a half ago, once the housing market starts to boom. And I've been in my house, guys, here for 20 years. It'll be 20 years this October. After I came back from San Francisco, I bought this house in the Exton area of Philadelphia suburbs. And somebody bought it, and whatever they paid for it, prices are up 150,000. But what's the first thing that they do? They build a three-car garage that looks just like the home. So, okay, so you buy a house and you have to take out this big mortgage, right? And that kind of, you got to be, then you tighten the belt for a few years, right? Like, well, we just moved in, just paid for everything. Now we want to spend, I don't know what, Rob would say it would cost. You build a three-car garage with an attic and a new foundation poured, all the permitting. That's got to be $100,000 minimum. So you're going to spend that on top. Well, yeah, these stories can go on forever, guys. You'll say, yeah, my neighbor just decided that if I thought this guy had some regular little pissant job, or he was some cubicle worker, he just put an extension onto his house. Must have been 180,000. Where's all the money? Where's all the money coming from? Um, it is not explainable to me inside normal bookends. And a Fed that can print endless trillions, many of which is off book, and somehow that can filter through the economy, um, that would be between the bookends. That I can understand that. If the Fed or an ECB or a Bank of Tokyo is just floating out $1 trillion a week that we don't even know about off books, and then that filters, well, that makes perfect sense. The inflationary effect of that doesn't make sense, and Apple should be $30 if that's the case. I don't know how they're keeping the inflation even as good as they are, considering how much money printing or quote printing they're doing. But it doesn't add up to me that where all the money's coming from, because if they're floating that much and it's trickle down, it would start to the inflationary effect would invade everywhere. Somebody would say, Matt, that cubicle worker who's a secretary or administrative assistant, you remember administrative assistants in the insurance company making 48,000. That person's making 150,000 now. If every corporate job is just paying that, it's news to me. That would explain it. That would put it back inside the reality bookends. But as far as I know, is that happening? I don't know. But again, sorry for being long-winded. I'm sure in a way you were on the bank watching the ship of fools, everybody here, I'm sure you would say, look around your neighborhoods, or where's the money coming from? It doesn't make sense. And I don't know. One more reality uh, breakdown. What's the difference, right? Just add it to the long list of things we already have. Thanks, guys.